Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Well, it's good to be with you today. Here it is, the last day of February. And tomorrow will be the first day in the first week of the month of March. Pretty soon, warmer weather will be here and spring will come, and people's thoughts turn to beauty and recreation and romance. A lot of couples get married in the spring. Something about the newness of life brings out the excitement in us about those romantic moments in our lives. And so this week, I'd like to talk about love. You know, God spends a lot of time talking about it. He's trying to convey something to us, something other than what you find on the television and the Bachelorette and the Bachelor and those kinds of shows. Naked in love and movies that portray all that and don't forget the Hallmark movies around Christmas and Valentine's Day. Uh, my wife really gets upset with those things. But I want to talk about love for a few days and see if we can learn a few things about how God looks at it. And the first one I want to look at, the first place, is in the second letter to John. Now, most people don't read these first, second, third letters. If they read the first one, they don't really do much with the second or the third one. So today I want to look at the second letter to John, the first chapter, and verse 6. Here's what it says. Love means doing what God has commanded us. And he has commanded us to love one another, just as you have heard from the beginning. Love means doing what God commands. Now, I know some of you who are listening to my voice don't put a lot of stock in God in your life. I was talking with someone the other day and I said, I really wish some folks that I know could understand how important it is to have a relationship with the Lord in everyday life. And I at least hoped that when I died, those folks who are important to me would at least understand that I thought it was important. And maybe one day it'll speak to them. You see, God is in control of everything, whether we recognize it or not, whether we want to follow it or not. You can do whatever you want to do. God will let you. But that doesn't mean that's what he prefers for you. And certainly it doesn't mean that's the way to find real happiness and excitement and joy. This says that love means doing what God has commanded. Now, when I use that phrase, God has commanded, too many people think of rules and laws that beat us over the head. And unfortunately, at least in my opinion, there are a lot of church folks who have done that over the years. A lot of church places are still doing it today. And it's not just conservative folks; it's liberal folks, and moderates in the middle. They I guess they kind of think that what's important to God is what we see on the outside. But God many times says that's not what he looks at. And here he emphasizes it. Do what God has commanded us. Now, what comes next? What has he commanded us? Well, it says, and he has commanded us to love one another. Now, note there, it doesn't say to love those who love you. In fact, there's another place in the Bible where Jesus says even the pagans do that. It's easy to love those who love you. It says, commanded us to love one another. Who are the other, the another? Well, it's everybody you meet. It's everybody that you have a relationship with, whether it's a casual one or a long-standing one. And what does it mean to love one another? Well, the Bible says in another other place that we are to love others as we love ourselves. Now, some people don't love themselves. Some people hate themselves, and that usually because of something that happened to them. And that's sad. And those kinds of folks really need some help with professionals who can enable them to see that there's another way to view this stuff. But to love someone means to wish the best for them. Now, I know I've run into some people that are really hard to be around. They're just difficult. But I'm still supposed to care about them. I'm supposed to think of them and their needs. And most importantly, I can never, 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 ever think that I'm better than they are. Because in God's eyes, we're all the same. We're all in need of redemption. We're all in need of His grace and His compassion. And when we show that to others, we demonstrate His compassion and love. Love means doing what God commands. And what He has commanded is to love one another. And finally, just as you heard from the beginning. In other words, this isn't a new thing. If somehow you have managed to miss this notion that we're supposed to love others, you can't say that you never heard about it. You can't say that, oh, that's a new radical left idea or a radical right idea. It's been there from the beginning of creation when God put man and woman in the garden and watched over them. So I want to urge you this week to listen and think about how can you love others and what does that mean for you? If you're bitter and you're angry, you can't do this. And if you can't do this, well, the Bible is abundantly clear that God's going to hold you at the same standard that you hold someone else. That's a sobering thought. So what does love mean? Well, to start today, it means to love others. Think about them. Try to help them. Try to show grace. And I hope you'll do that today and all of this week. We'll talk about it some more. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a really, really good day. And if there's something we can help you with, we'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow.